Hello, my fellow Americans. This is Mr. Kays, and we are on 26.3, the United States. I know, don't give me grief. This is global studies. Yes, I know we aren't supposed to be talking about the United States, but in the bigger scope of things, you have to know what democracy did in spreading its roots here. Independence from Britain brought a desire to expand westward. Independence from Britain brought a desire to expand westward. What are we talking about? Well, the end of the American Revolution led us to go from sea to shining sea, and that term is manifest destiny. Manifest destiny. The right or duty to expand from Atlantic to Pacific by the United States or the U.S. The right or duty to expand from Atlantic to Pacific by the U.S. Why were they able to do that? Well, their justification for removing, this was the justification for removing Native Americans from their lands. This was the justification for removing Native Americans from their lands. Why did they kick the Native Americans off? Because it is their right. It is their duty to go from sea to shining sea. Texas was annexed. It was added to our empire. War with Mexico results in cession, C-E-S-S-I-O-N, of California and the Southwest area to the United States. Texas was annexed, and war with Mexico results in cession or giving California and the Southwest area to the United States. Tensions between North and South lead to the Civil War in 1860. Tensions between North and South lead to the Civil War in 1860. So we're seeing an internal crisis here in the United States during this time. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th U.S. president. 16th U.S. president. And it's on his watch that the South seceded from the Union. Secede means to withdraw. Withdraw. So, Lincoln had to bring the South back in. So the U.S. Civil War, rebel states in the South were returned to the Union. Rebel states in the South were returned to the Union. They wanted to break away, secede from the Union. And that was 1861 to 1865. During the war, Lincoln declares or writes the Emancipation Proclamation. It's a $10 word, which means Lincoln frees the slaves in areas of rebellion. He frees the slaves in areas of rebellion. So all Confederate states, their slave populations are free. Whether they were free indeed, well, that's another story. But all slave states in the North still had slavery. What do you bet's going to happen after the war? Yeah, he's going to get rid of slavery altogether. In fact, after the war, as the war winds down, the 13th Amendment is passed. It eliminates slavery. The 14th Amendment gave citizenship to all Americans, all native-born Americans. I'll just say all Americans. And then the 15th Amendment gave voting rights to former slaves. Voting rights to former male slaves, I'll say, male slaves. Women, you still can't vote, sorry, at this time. As the war is over, now Reconstruction builds up the South, and you have readmittance or return of rebel states. During Reconstruction, it's the buildup of the South and readmittance or return of rebel states. The United States experienced segregation. That means separation of races, or just put down, separation of blacks and whites. Separation of blacks and whites. The blacks continue to face discrimination. The blacks continue to face discrimination. Now, immigration from Europe fuels industrialization. Immigration fuels industrialization. You have more workers, they can work in the factories. Railroads speed the development of the West. Railroads speed the development of the West. Well, that's it in a nutshell for the United States history. This is Mr. K's 26.3. I'm out.